VCT Americas Stage 2 Super Week has featured some incredible games so far. Some surprising victories, some unfortunate fall from graces. We're here to talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are recapping the first 6 matches of VCT Americas Stage 2 Super Week. So this is the board we have today, and we're going to be starting with the Evil Geniuses versus Furia match. And this match went about as expected. After Furia's surprising victory over 100 Thieves, there was hope for this team that maybe that's a sign that things were going to change. But it is now looking like that might have been a bit of a fluke for this team because Evil Geniuses really took to them. Looking at map 1, we have Bind, which was a 13-5 win in favor of Evil Geniuses. While Furia would win the pistol, EG would take a pretty quick lead and end the half 9-3. Furia tried to get something going on their attack side, but couldn't do it. EG take this one pretty easily. And then on Lotus, very similar story, but EG won the first 9 rounds in a row, 10-2 at the half, and while Furia would get the pistol, wasn't enough. EG already had a very large amount of rounds, they only needed 3. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Evil Geniuses, probably could have put Giacomo once again, but I decided to give my flowers to Superman. He had a fantastic match, going 35, 15, and 12 for plus 20. Then on the side of Furia, Noswer yet again shows up as their MVP, going 29, 31, and 7 for minus 2. So as I said before, this was a very expected result. EG are looking very hot right now. This is definitely one of their easier wins of the split. It is going to get tougher from here. But even though it's against a pretty easy opponent, it does show that EG are a team to be reckoned with. And for Furia, it's unfortunate that it's looking like a very similar retread of Stage 1, even after that incredible win against 100 Thieves. But maybe they can pull off another upset like that. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Moving on to the second match of the Saturday games, we have Sentinels versus Crew. This would end up being a 2-0 victory in favor of Sentinels, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Crew were right there with Sentinels the entire time. This was a pretty close match despite it going 2-0 for Sentinels. Crew were definitely playing really well, giving Sentinels a bit of trouble on Lotus, which has kind of concerned me with Sentinels for the last little bit. They had a perfect record on that map for a while, and while they are still very strong in it, teams have been able to at least find some chinks in the armor, but it didn't matter for this match. Sentinels would get the victory and lead them to a 2-0 win. So looking at that Lotus map, it was a 13-11 win in favor of Sentinels. Crew would get the early jump winning the pistol in the next round, but then Sentinels would win 4 in a row. Crew would get another 2, but then a 4-round win streak to end the half. Sentinels would carry that into the second half, winning the pistol and the next one, but then Crew would start to mount a comeback. They got within 1, but Sentinels were able to get to that match point and weather the storm and take this one. So Crew losing on their map pick, hoping to get a counter pick, because Crew are pretty good on Lotus as well. Which then meant we were going to split, which as we all know, Sentinels are very good on this map. A tough match for Crew to win. Crew would start pretty well, having a 4-1 lead at round 5, but then Sentinels took control and didn't let it go. Winning 7 rounds in the row, 2 and a half, looks like this might be an easy one, but then Crew yet again would give Sentinels a bit of trouble, winning the pistol. The next one, Sentinels got 1, and then be a bit back and forth, but yet again Crew just can't tie it to get to that overtime, and Sentinels would take it. Looking at the team MVPs, could have put Zekin, but 10's absolutely incredible performance. Went 39, 29, and 10 for plus 10. As for Crew, who else but Kesnet, going 39, 36, and 9 for plus 3. Solid match from him. So Sentinels are definitely looking like back to their Madrid form. They look really dominant, and even though Crew did give them trouble, they were able to weather that storm. They didn't look nervous, they looked composed the whole time, and they were able to grind this one out. Definitely looking a lot better than they did in Stage 1. And for Crew, they didn't look bad at all. This is Klaus's last game on the roster, actually. MTA is making a return. I guess MTA is going to be the IJL now. Interesting move from them. MTA did look pretty good at kickoff, despite having some mediocre stats. But if they think that MTA can bring this team to champs, then who knows, it might be the right move, but unfortunate for Klaus. Crew are still in a decent position for playoffs. This loss doesn't hurt them too much, but they definitely need to start racking up some other wins. Moving on to the Sunday matches, we have Loud versus MIBR, and MIBR would finally win a map. However, they would not win the match. Loud would take this one 2-1. This one definitely looked a bit scary for Loud after that second map. The first map, they were looking quite good, but then the second map started to happen, and MIBR were giving them a lot of trouble. It looked like maybe this one could have slipped out of Loud's fingers, but they were able to get it done and keep their impeccable and perfect record against Brazilian teams. Looking at map 1, we have Ascent, which was a 13-7 win in favor of Loud. 8-4 at the half, looking pretty dominant, going on multiple round win streaks, and then they would carry that into the second half. Not much that MIBR was able to do on their defense side, and Loud would take this one. Then on Lotus, things start to tilt, and we see Loud have a pretty good start to the match, having a 5-3 lead at round 8, but then MIBR would put together a 4-round win streak. Loud wouldn't win the pistol and the next one, but then MIBR would start to claw back. After a bit of a back and forth, MIBR were able to stop overtime from happening once they got to match point and win this one. So a bit of a robbery on the side of MIBR to win their first map since kickoff. But then on Sunset, Loud would take back control 13-9. Early on, it looked like maybe MIBR was going to be able to steal this one as well. They would take the lead 6-3 at round 9, but then Loud were able to tie it at the half and then continued their momentum into their attack half, and MIBR just can't get the same amount of rounds, and Loud would take this one. Looking at the team MVPs, on the side of Loud, we have Les going 56, 42, and 15 for plus 14. On the side of MIBR, we have Lizy, who went 47, 44, and 22 for plus 3. So not a bad match for MIBR. They finally won a map. It's been quite a long time since they've done that, so definitely good for their morale to at least get that going. But Loud, they were able to weather the storm, and similar story to what we've seen with Loud against other Brazilian teams. They have a perfect record against other Brazilian teams. They are very clearly the kings of that region. Bit of a scary one with losing the map, but sometimes teams lose maps. That's just how it goes. Loud take it. Moving on to the second match of the Sunday, we have a match that I think 100 Thieves fans are going to want to forget about. Leviatan versus 100 Thieves. This was simply embarrassing for 100 Thieves. Leviatan looked much better than them in this match. 100 Thieves didn't look particularly terrible, at least during the first map, but they just weren't able to get things done. They would have decent start to rounds, decent mid-rounding, but then Leviatan were just able to just outplay them. They knew how to beat 100 Thieves on a map that they're very good on Bind, and 100 Thieves just couldn't find enough to win this one. I think looking at their match against Furia and now this match, I think it's safe to say that 100 Thieves are officially in a slump. Looking at map 1, we have Bind, which was 100 Thieves' pick and a map that 100 Thieves have been very good on this year. But Leviatan were able to make this one scary for 100 Thieves early. 100 Thieves did start the match by winning the first 2 rounds, but then Leviatan would end up having a 8-4 half. But hey, 8-4 isn't the biggest lead. 100 Thieves are very good on this map, and now they're on their defense side, which should be favorable on Bind. Unfortunately for them, even though they got 6-round wins, just wasn't enough to beat Leviatan. Leviatan were playing incredibly well. Lev would win the pistol, 100 Thieves would take the next round, but then Lev do get the third. 4-round win streak for 100 T, looking to tie it up, but just could not get it done. Leviatan get the 3 that they need. And then we go to Haven, which is a map that we haven't seen either of these teams on yet this year because it was just put in the map pool. So this was a very smart play by Leviatan and their coaching staff by choosing this map that they don't have much info of 100 Thieves on, but they know how to play this map clearly. Leviatan start the map by winning the first 6 rounds in a row. They end up having a 10-2 half, 100 Thieves just not getting anything on their attack side. And then it was easy pick'ems on the second half for Leviatan to get it done. They only needed 3. They wouldn't win the pistol. 100 Thieves try to win and they get 2 rounds, but just not enough. Lev had this one 13-4. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Leviatan, we of course have Ospas going 42, 26, and 4 for plus 16. And on the side of 100 Thieves, the only player that didn't go negative, EU, went 26, 26, and 19. No one on 100 Thieves was playing particularly well, and EU was doing at least okay. At the risk of sounding petty, this match was very vindicating for me. I did a power rankings video last week where 100 Thieves were at number 5 because they had just lost to Furia, and I had Leviatan at number 2, mainly just because 100 Thieves were at number 1 on my rankings and then they dropped down, so Leviatan just naturally moved up. And people were flaming me saying that they were way too high, that they were bad, and all this stuff, and I just thought, just you wait. Usually I would cheer for 100 Thieves in a match like this, but it was hard not to feel a little nice when Leviatan got this one done in the fashion that they did. Leviatan are a good team. I've been saying this. They're a solid team. They have some incredible talent, and if they can just find a solid structure, they're going to be okay. And they've proven themselves to be one of, if not the best team in the Americas. I'm not saying I believe that they're the best team in Americas right now. Sentinels definitely has something to say about that. But with a team with this much talent, if you can figure out some of the issues that they've been having throughout the year, which they were able to figure out in Stage 1. Yes, they did not have a great Shanghai, but it was this roster's first appearance at an international as this version of the roster. So there's bound to be some growing pains. There's bound to be some underwhelming performances, but they have come back to Americas and have looked impeccable. They have not dropped a map yet. They have the best record in the Americas right now. Playoffs are basically locked up for them, and hopefully for them, they can continue to have a solid stage. But we'll see where things go. It's not like 100 Thieves is the only good opponent in their group. And on the side of 100 Thieves, as I said, they're definitely in a slump now. They've lost to two teams that realistically they should have been able to beat. At least in Furia, that should be a, quote, free win. There are no free wins in Valorant, as Bucio has now learned. But it's just tough for me to see this team as a team that can really compete for champions. I know that they had a very good run in Stage 1. I know that their run in Shanghai was a top 4 finish. This team definitely has a lot of talent. I'm just not convinced that what they do have is top tier talent that can win international tournaments. We saw how their run ended at Shanghai. It was pretty bad, and now we've seen them really slump in Stage 2 so far. So I do hope they bounce back. I think this team is better than this. I would love to put them higher on my power rankings, but right now, just can't justify it. So any 100 Thieves fans that sees them ranked low on my next power rankings, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear your opinions. You know that I'm right. Kidding, of course, everybody has their own opinion. That's fine to have. Moving on to the Monday games, we have yet another embarrassing loss for a team that really needs to get it going. G2 defeating Energy 2-0. G2 look absolutely incredible right now. They look nearly unstoppable. They're clearly one of the better teams in their group. That top 3 finish at Shanghai not looking like a fluke right now. While their opponents in C9 and Energy aren't what I would exactly call the high tier of the Americas, it looks like a team that can beat anybody in this region. This match was definitely a combination of G2 playing incredibly well and Energy, well, there were some promising signs here and there. They looked off today. They were missing their shots. They were getting outcalled by Valen, who was just calling circles around FNS. FNS having a very rough match for himself, both on the IGL side and as an individual performer. So this was not the turnaround that you wanted. This loss makes it even harder for Energy to make playoffs, and it makes it even easier for G2. Looking at map 1, we have Haven, which was Energy's map pick, but it went in the way of G2 13-7. G2 would start this one off very strong, winning the first 6 rounds in a row, immediately looking like the better team today. Energy would get 4 to end the half, so 8-4 isn't the worst scoreline that you can have, but they would get the pistol, they would get the next one, but G2 were able to swing the momentum once again. They would get the 5 that they needed. They were just playing a lot better than Energy in this map. And then Bind would end up being a very similar story, going 13-8 in favor of G2. G2 would win the first 6 rounds, Energy would get 3 in the first half, and they would try to mount a comeback, but it was really hard to stop what G2 was doing. Energy would get the pistol, and the next one, G2 steal the bonus, another 2 for Energy, 1 for G2, another 1 for Energy, really up against it, back against the wall at match point for G2. They would get it done. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of G2, Leaf had an incredible game for himself, 40, 23, and 9 for plus 17. And on the side of Energy, the only player that went positive was Ethan, going 37, 32, and 11 for plus 5. This was definitely a very unfortunate loss for Energy. They definitely looked better than their Stage 1 selves in their game against Sentinels, but this match did not look the same. They looked just as rough on their defense side. They really were not getting it done there. Just some really poor individual performances, and as I said, Valen was just out-calling FNS at every turn. G2 were playing slow, and then when they would go really fast, they would get on site, or they would counter, and it would work nearly every time. Energy just did not have what it takes to beat G2. They play incredibly disciplined, they play incredibly smart, and Energy, they're just not looking the same. As I said, this match basically calls it a wraps for Energy's season. I find it incredibly unlikely them making it to playoffs. I'm sure the mathematics on it are incredibly slim. Maybe they can win their last 2 matches for dignity. I would love to at least see that. But even if this team makes it to playoffs, I don't see them going far. I don't see them doing much damage. I don't see them, making it champs or doing well at champs if they do. My hope for this team died halfway through Stage 1. They haven't beat a good team this entire year, and it looks like that's going to continue to be a trend. So we'll see what Energy does. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do in the offseason. Maybe they put Demon 1 back in for one of these last 2 matches. I think you should do it just to try it at this point. Just see if you can maybe get 2 wins to end the season just for your own sake, and hey, maybe there's something to build off of from that. But yeah, Energy fans, Sorry, just don't see it. All right, moving on to our last match of the day, we have Sentinels versus C9. Sentinels would take this one 2-0. Not a terrible performance from C9. They didn't have a good first map, but their second map was definitely a little bit better. But Sentinels were able to play very dominantly on the first map, and then in the second map, they were able to weather the storm when C9 started playing well. Every single player on Sentinels was hitting their shots. They were looking very good. They were playing very well, playing very disciplined, and just overall making the correct decisions with some very good mid-round in. C9 is a good team, but they're not necessarily the toughest opponent that Sentinels could face, but I'm definitely going to give Sentinels the credit for this one. They looked fantastic during this match. Looking at map 1, we have Haven. I'm so glad we have this map back, man. God, the map pool was awful before this. This would be a 13-5 win in favor of C9. C9 trying to do what Energy tried to do, which is, choose this map and hope to catch the other team off guard. But Sentinels clearly have a good Haven, as evident by how this entire match went. Ended up being 7-5 at the half in favor of Sentinels, and then C9 wouldn't get any on their attack side. Impeccable defense by Sentinels, winning 6 rounds in a row to take it. Then on split, it's Sentinels on split. You know how this one goes. 13-8 in favor of Sentinels. 6-6 at the half. As I said, C9 were playing better this map than they were in map 1. And then it looked like maybe they were going to get the lead. Maybe they could get an upset victory because they won the pistol and the next one. But nope. Yet again, another long win streak for Sentinels to end it. 7 rounds in a row on their attack side to end the match. Sentinels win this one. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Sentinels, we have Zekin going 40, 24, and 6 for plus 16. On the side of C9, Zeppa had a decent match going 27, 26, and 15 for plus 1. So for Sentinels, they are definitely looking like a top 3 team in Americas right now. Whenever I do my next power ranking, expect them to be very high, and it's deserved. They look incredible. They don't look weak on any map right now. They're able to play maps that haven't been in the pool for very long. Split is being removed from the map pool. I don't know if this is the last week that it's here for, but I know it's leaving. So that is going to hurt their map pool a little bit, but they still look very solid on other maps. I wouldn't be too worried. And for C9, decent performance, but now you're 0-2 during this stage. You still have a good record from stage 1, but they're going to hope that they can get wins over Energy and Crew, because that's going to be a tough one. Energy might be easy pick'ems for them at this point, but Crew's probably going to be looking for a bounce back, so don't take those teams lightly at all. C9 fans, they're in not a terrible position, but definitely some concerning things that we've seen over these past 2 matches. So those are the matches that have happened at VCT Americas Super Week in Stage 2 so far. Up next, so tomorrow, we have Leviatan versus Evil Geniuses, and then we have Loud versus Furia. I think Loud winning against Furia should be an easy bet, so that's the one I'll make. And then Leviatan versus EG, this is going to be a really good match. It's going to be a hard-fought battle. Honestly, kind of feeling EG on this one, but we'll see if Leviatan can continue to prove me right and prove that they're a top team. But EG is also high on my ranking, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you thought of these matches so far? Who do you think is going to win the upcoming ones? And who do you think makes playoffs at the end of this stage? Please click like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.